Hey everybody, it's Rachel here at From Moments to Milestones, and I'm here to put together our latest card kit. This is a Christmas card kit. It is called Emerald Eve. We're featuring the 6.5 by 6.5 paper pad from Kaisercraft. And this is what your kit will come like. It'll come with written instructions and pictures, as well as a supply list. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to make all 7 today. And this is the first card. May your days be merry and bright. Put that over here so you can look at that. I'll put it together. You also have this little piece of Post-it tape, so you might want to put that. I'm just going to stick that right there so I don't lose it. And the first thing you need to do is you should have 3 of these branches embossed in gold on the vellum, and we need to fussy cut those. So I'll do that. Okay, I have all my little pieces fussy cut, so let's finish putting the card together. I am going to put this geometric pattern paper onto my card base. Okay, and now you should have these 2 gold strips, and we are going to stick those on either side. I'm going to put a line of glue back here, and then I just want about a 1/16 of an inch showing. Not very much, just a little. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, and now we're going to take that vellum, and it is going to go across like this, and we're going to wrap the edges around. So what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm just going to go ahead and fold that. Okay, and then I'm going to, and it's about 1 inch from the bottom, and I'm just going to place it like that. So I'm going to flip it over, and you can either use wet glue, or you could use whatever you want. You could even use Scotch tape or washi tape to hold it back there, whatever you're comfortable with. And then we'll go ahead and pull this one over and do the same thing. And now our sentiment is on there. And this piece is going to get glued under a card more over onto the right side. So I've got about 1/8 of an inch of this darker paper showing. So I'll put some glue on that. Make sure my card's open the right way. Okay. Down. All right. Set that aside, and now I'm going to build my tree. So you have this scrap paper and your gold tree. I'm going to glue that down and then snip off the excess. All right. And then that tree is going to go right here on some foam. But before, I'm going to use that as a placement. Before I actually stick that down, I'm going to stick these pieces in behind, and I'm just going to glue those straight down. So I'm going to put some, and I'm going to try to put the glue where the embossing is so that you can't see it. Use this as a placeholder for now. There's one. 2, And I have the other one coming out of the other side. Try not to cover up my sentiment. Hold those down for a second. All right, I'm gonna remove the backing of the foam and glue that down. All right, we're gonna finish by building our little bow for the tree. I kind of thought that looked like ribbon, so you can put it on the top or the side, wherever you can find room for it. But I'm gonna take it and kind of manipulate it with my fingers so it's rounded. And then you're gonna need a little dot of glue in the center here. And you're gonna fold this over onto itself, not completely folding it. So it's gonna look, so it's be rounded like that. I'm gonna hold that for a minute. Now, this is like a glossy paper, so this wet glue does not hold the best onto itself. So like right here where I need to glue onto the glossy, I think eventually it would work, but you're gonna have to be patient. Or if you're impatient like me, you can use a glue dot or score tape. So I have a glue dot here that I'm going to use. I'm just gonna stick it on there and then fold that over onto it. And then we're gonna use another one to stick it onto the ribbon tails. So onto the back, and then you have this piece here. I'm just gonna fold that onto itself, and that goes on there like that. And then I'm gonna stick it right there. Now you have, that's where this little piece comes into play. This is actually the center of your bow. So I am going to use wet glue and my little jewel picker. And I'll put that on just like that. And I'm just going to leave it alone, and it will eventually dry. The same here. I'm going to put a little glob of glue and stick on my, and that card is finished. I'm going to set that aside to dry. Our next card is Merry Christmas. Lots of greenery on this one. Put that over here. All right, so a personal preference here. On this card, I ink the edges of everything to kind of give it that vintagey feel. So if that's a step you want to skip, I understand that. I am going to go ahead and do it quickly, and then I'll come back. And I am using, whoops, I'm using Distress ink here today. Brush corduroy is what I'm using, but really any brown ink would work. Okay, I have all of these pieces inked, all the die cuts, the wood plank pieces, and what I'm left with is the greenery and the pine cones. So what we are going to do, I'm going to set this card base aside. We are going to add some color to the pine cones. So you should have a solid piece and a detailed piece for each. All right, and I'm going to take a dauber and the brush corduroy and go over the detailed piece. Okay, and then I'm going to come in from the larger end and kind of have it dark at the top and work its way to light. So dark here and work its way down. Okay, and then what you'll do is glue this onto that. So we'll do that, And then these other greenery pieces, it's up to you. I have they might seem kind of bright if you've inked everything else. So I just kind of went in with a brush corduroy and just kind of distressed them a little bit. Even the darker ones, you don't have to, but you will, it is noticeable. So I'm just kind of coming up from the bottom on all of them. I did the berries as well. I'm just going to come up the center. And these two. All right. Now that our fingers are all inky, let's go ahead and put together the card. So we will start with this piece here and go on to the card base. And then the pine piece. I don't think there's a right side, but to me that just looked like the right side, so personal preference. Okay. And now you have these plank pieces. Now on my original card, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planks. I believe that I may have included more planks in yours just because as I was cutting them, it just worked out that way. So if you don't want to use them, just take the 2 smallest ones and set them aside and use what's there. And what we're going to do is start in the center with the largest one and then work our way out like this. Now you can completely line them up straight. I have mine kind of staggered. So that's where you could come in with these other pieces I gave you if you wanted, and stagger them that way. The other option is you could totally turn the card around and have your wood pieces going this way and put your sentiment here. So that's another option if you want to do it differently. So I put my foam or my plank pieces up on foam. So I am going to do that. All right, I have foam on. I'm going to pull the backing off and place those. So I'm going to start up right here in the center and work my way out. All right, I have my foam pieces down. There's really no right or wrong way to stagger them. We're gonna cover it with all this greenery anyway. So whatever is pleasing to you. Like I said, you could even go this way if you wanted to. I'm gonna go this way, keeping this in mind that I want this in here. And we're just gonna start placing. So I know that when I built this, that there's 2 really dark green pieces that look like this, and I know I did this. And then there are a little bit more of a blue tint to them. And I have one here and one in here, okay? And then I know I have this piece coming out here. So what I'm gonna go ahead and, now that I have those placed, this is all gonna be hidden under here behind my ticket. So it can be as ugly as we need it. And sometimes I just like to do this right here and get my fingers dirty. Now it's all where I want it. So I have those. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some here. And I know that piece. And I did not pop anything up. also have these pieces in here with the, I did put prills on these, but I'm gonna wait and do it afterwards once the card's built, because that's kind of, it's easier to do that. This is, I'm gonna tuck there. Okay. Now I have a few little chads I need popped out. You have this piece here, and I'm gonna snip it. So right here we kind of have this gap where there's kind of two stems coming out. I'm gonna go in there and snip here, and I'm gonna snip right there. And now I have these two pieces. And one of them, this longer one, is coming up here, and I'm gonna tuck it behind that. And this other one is down in here. I'm gonna tuck it behind as well. All right. And this looks like a mess, but once you put your tag on there, you can kind of see, oh yeah, I like that, or no, I don't. And because I use wet glue and quite a bit of it, I can still play around with the placement if I'm not happy with something. So I'm actually gonna pull that one out and just see if I might like it up here better, and I do. I'm gonna go ahead and put these pine cones together, which I have not done yet. All right, so I'm going to take this and pop it up on foam. So I get a couple foam squares right there in the center of them. And I am, because of all the layers, gonna put a little bit of wet glue on there also, just to really ensure that it gets a good stick. All right, that's gonna go there. And now these, I'm just gonna tuck in and fill, and depending on where you place them, you may want foam, you may not. And I put, whoops, I'm going to try to tuck it under there. There we go. I'll put another one there. All right, so the last piece that we need is a piece of twine. That should be the last part of your kit. And what I'm gonna do is fold it in half, and I'm gonna snip it in half, and I'm gonna keep them, and I'm gonna make a bow, keeping them together. All right, and get it tied, kind of fuss with it and get it the way you want it. Pull it nice and taut. All right, and then I'm going to snip off some of these extra, and that's going to go right there. Now you can use wet glue. I'm going to opt for a glue dot so it doesn't move around. And that card is complete. Okay, our next card. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Over here. All right, so lots of things to do here. So the first thing we need to do is color our greenery. Okay, you have 3 white pieces. And I used the brush corduroy again and pine needles. We're gonna use both. So what I did to get this color, pine needles was a little too teal for me. I wanted green, but not bright green. So I put down a layer of the brush corduroy first, and then the pine needles over the top, and that's how I got that look. So that's what we're gonna do. So I will put that down first. Not real heavy. Okay, and now for the pine needles. Any places I missed. All right, we're done with the inking. All right, so let's go ahead and we can go ahead and shape our flowers. So you do have some, these are Heartfelt Creations, poinsettia and holly cluster set. These are the poinsettias from that. I stamped them on the scrap from this paper, so whatever is over here, and then I embossed them in gold. I used Nouveau Classic Gold Embossing Powder, and then I die cut them with their dies. So now we are going to shape the flowers quickly. So we're going to use our mat, a larger one and a smaller one. So this is like a kind of like a mouse pad, maybe a little soft on both sides. There's no hard surface. So we're gonna flip them all over. One thing you can do is spray them lightly with water, and that will help break down the paper. So I'm gonna give them a couple mists with water, and then I'm gonna take my stylus. We have a large end and a small end. I'm going to use the large end and start on the outside and kind of bounce and pull my way in. Whoops. And then I'm going to take this end here and do little circles, and it pulls everything up. Then you're going to flip it over and press in. And now you have this little shaped flower. So I'm going to do that 7 more times. I'm going to go ahead and do this one real quick, and I'm going to show you how we're going to layer them. So it's kind of a pounce and pull in, and a little circle in the center to pull it all in. Flip it over, maybe, and lightly press until it opens, and press down in the center. Now what I'm going to do is put a dot of glue in the center of that one. My glue doesn't want to start. Hold on a second. There we go. And then I'm going to put this one, I'm going to offset the petals. I'm using that small end and push in. And now we have a layered poinsettia. I'm going to repeat that, and I'm going to end up with 4 2-layer flowers. All right, I have my flowers all made, and I'm going to set them aside over there. And I'm going to build up the rest of my card. So this piece here kind of has these bokeh effect, the lights, and they're going to go at the bottom of your card. All right, and then one last thing that I didn't mention was to ink the edges of your frame. So you can use a dauber or something larger, whatever you want. Sometimes this frame's kind of delicate because the wood, it cuts the wood texture, but it does cut it. So you might want to be not as rough as I'm being. And then what I'm going to do is put foam on the back of my frame. Okay, I have the foam. peel off the backing, and I'm going to use the table to line it up. All right, there's that. And now we have these two pieces, so those are going to go on top of each other. That piece is going to go right in here, and I just glued it straight down because with the dimension of the flowers, it should help to make it a little bit flatter to mail. So, okay, and now these green, we're going to do the same thing as we did in the other card, and I'm going to cut apart these two larger pieces of greenery. And now we have 5 individual pieces, and one of these, so you end up with one with 2 and one with 1 when you cut that apart. Okay, one of these is going to go down here. I wonder if I can pull that up. I put it a little too, these will be a little bit, about a 1/2 inch from the edge of that, so that you have room for it and it won't cover up your sentiment. There we go. So that's going to go there. And then these pieces, we're going to have one. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on that. One's going to come here. I'm going to go a little bit further. It's kind of onto that. And then we have one of these. It's going to go right here. This one's going to go right there. This is the one we didn't cut apart. And the other one, I'm going to tuck behind that. Whoops. It's going to look like that. And then that one, I think I remember now, I cut this apart right here. That way I can kind of stack them up, and they're a little bit shorter. So put one there, the other one right there, and then the flower can go right on top. So we have these. I'm just going to put a dot of glue on the back and put that where I want it. Let's see, we have one here, here, and there, however you want to put them. And I'm going to just take my stylus and kind of hold those down for a minute so they get on there nice and good. All right. Then you have these little, they kind of look like water droplets. And these are from Buttons Galore. It's actually like shaker bits, but I just pulled out these larger pieces to look like water droplets. So I'm going to put one here, here, and here. So just this dries clear glue, so when it dries you will not see the glue, just the little water droplets. And I'm going to use my jewel picker to pick those up. 1, 2, and it has a flat side. That's the side we're gluing down. So there's that. And the finishing touch, if you want, is something in the center of your flowers. We used Gilt Trip Prills. So what we're gonna do is put some glue, wet glue in the center of each flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a little, let me put it in here. I'm going to dump some of the prills in the center of each flower. Just let it sit for a second. And then shake off the excess. And you get that really cool effect in the flowers. And then there is one final finishing touch. You can be done here if you want. I use some Distress Glitter Clear Rock Candy. And I am going to put that on the edges of the greenery. So I'm just gonna kind of roughly put some glue here and there. They look like snow. Now you could use white glitter and really get that heavy snow look. I'm just going for subtle here. So put that on. Oops, need that. There we go. And now when it dries, it's gonna have that effect. So that card is finished. Okay, our next card is Joy, Peace, Love. All right, so I'll start by putting this dark cardstock onto the card base. Okay. Then this piece is going to go right on there. Okay. And then you have two diagonal strip pieces of paper. This one is going to go across the center. And actually, it should have went across the center of the word paper. So let me see if I can pull that up real quick so I can cut a straight line. Nope, that's okay. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to mark it with a pencil. So if, don't do what I do. Just get a pencil here. And I want it to cut there and there. I'm actually going to just use my thumbnail. Make a crease. Use the scissors. There we go. And then that piece is going to go right there. So glue that on. So that's going to go right in the center. Okay, now you have this piece here. We're going to fold it in half. And we're going to take our scissors and cut banner ends. So I'm going to make a snip up the center from one corner to the center. And now you have a piece that looks like this. So your banner ends will match. And I'm just going to snip that in half. And I'm going to put adhesive on the front because we are going to glue it to the back of this. Now you can tell that it looks like it's kind of wrapped behind, so you don't want it sticking out this much or it's going to hang off your card. So you only want about a half of an inch or a quarter of an inch. So you're just going to line it up and stick it on there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Line it up, and then we're going to stick that down on our card. Okay. All right, and that is just going to go in the center. Okay, so I have that piece down, and now we are going to we're going to put our snowflake over the sentiment. So I'm just going to put some dots of glue I'm gonna lay that down and just put this right over the top. I want the points going up and down, and I want it to be straight. All right. Okay, I've got that piece on there, and I'm gonna put some foam on the back. Now, if you want, and I did take the time, these pieces are going to float around if you don't. I'm going to take these strips and cut some thin strips to go behind my, so I just took one, cut thin little strips, and I'm gonna just put them just on those, the bases of those. And that card is finished. All right, our next card, Believe in the Magic of the Season, Merry Christmas. Put that over here. Open this up. All right, so all our little pieces, you'll have these little pieces too. Those are your berries. We don't want to lose those. You also have your berries that look like this. Set those aside. So the first thing we need to do is color our wreath. So I'm going to use the same two colors we've been using, which are pine needles and the brush corduroy. So I'm going to go around the edge with brush corduroy. And then I'm going to put pine needles around the inside and kind of all the way out. Now, if that look is too bright for you, which it is for me, then you just use the brush corduroy around the inside as well, which must be what I did, but you can go back over it and it'll work. Okay. And then you have these two white pieces. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put down brush corduroy and then the pine needles. All right, I have all my greenery colored. So now I ink the edges of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I also used the brush corduroy. Do that quickly. And then before I do it on this piece here, I cut this into a banner. So just gonna pick an end, find the center, cut up, and then from one corner to the center, the other corner to the center. We have a banner. Go ahead and ink that. All right, so now let's put this card together. So we'll start with the wood paper. Okay. That down. Okay. And now I'm going to put that banner piece right in the center. All right, and then you have these two thin strips of gold. This is called Merry Sparkle paper. And we're just gonna put one on either side of the banner. So what I did was a thin strip of glue. Whoops. It should line up with the bottom and tuck right up against. There we go. Do the same on the other side. Okay. And now we're gonna put our sentiment in the center. Now mine looks different because I'm still working out of the same 6x6 pad, but there was another sentiment just a little bit darker, so I'm gonna use that one. So we're just gonna put some glue around the inside of that circle. I'm gonna do it on there, I'll do it right here. Make sure your sentiment's showing. Okay, set that aside to dry for a minute. And while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and build my bow. So it's gonna be just like the one from the first card. We're just gonna wrap it around. One thing you can do too is if you have a bone folder, you can take a bone folder and kind of like you would do ribbon at Christmas, and that really help to round it. I'm going to put a dot of glue right there and hold that one for a minute. My fingers are all inky. Okay. Get my tweezers here and hold it together. While that dries, I am going to get a glue dot. Since this is kind of like that other paper, it has a film on it and it doesn't want to stick. So I'm going to put a glue dot, oops, on there. And then, you know, there's a little bit hanging off. I'm just going to fold it onto itself so it will stick. And I will push it on there. Hold my tweezers on there so it can hold that. All right, I think that's dry. I'm going to put some foam on the back of that. And again here, if you want to strategically place some foam squares, I'm going to cut some in half. This is a little bit stronger than that gold paper was on the snowflake, but I'm going to put a few. I'm just going to scatter them. Looks like I'm going to be able to see it. I don't want to see it. There we go. All right, that's going to go on like that. So I pull off the backing. All right, that is going to go in the center of the banner near the top. All right, and then you have a Merry Christmas. Here we use the wood. This one we're using, I like both. I obviously designed with the one, but these are things that come out of the back of your Kaisercraft paper pad. So if you follow along with me here, a lot of times you're going to see how you can make almost the exact same card just using some different elements from the back. And that is going to go right there. Okay. And then we are going to finish off with these. We have a couple pieces of greenery, and I'm going to put one here and here. Okay, just kind of giving a little bit more dimension there. So I'm just going to put a piece there and a piece here. Okay. And then our bow, I'm going to put glue on the back of that, put it where I want it to come from, and then this should be dry. We're going to use one more glue dot on the back of our bow. fold over the edges and stick it right on top. There we go. And then you have that last little bit. I am gonna glue that on there so it has time to dry, and then I need my jewel picker again. There we go. Put that right there. Okay, the finishing touch are gonna be these berries. I kind of have them scattered throughout. I'm just gonna, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2 there. There's that jewel picker. And, okay, these pieces here, you gotta kind of peel out of there. So, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and peel all those out, make a pile of them here. I don't know that I used all of them on the card, but feel free if you want to. They're here, right? Okay. So, and then we have these craft ones as well, just for different. You could always, I think red would have been really pretty here too, and I almost went for it, but I stuck with the colors that we had been using. But you could absolutely use red here. It would be really a pretty pop of color. And let's put 2 there. 1 of those. 1 of those. And I think I'm going to call that good. So I did not use all mine, but please feel free to if you want. That completes that card. We have 2 more cards. This one is called Warm Wishes. I really like the color combo on this one. Okay. No fussy cutting or inking, so this one will go together pretty quick. So we're gonna start with this piece of blue cardstock. And that is gonna go onto your card base. Make sure it's opening the right way. And then that's gonna go in the center. And you have a piece of this shimmer paper, and we're just gonna put a strip of that. So, nice little line of glue. There we go. And that's gonna go there. Go ahead and put that down. And now we have this sketch circle. Okay, so I went over this sketch circle with a Nuvo glitter gloss pen. That is going to go on like that. So let's go ahead and put some glue on the back like that. All right, and then we have these 2 pieces here, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to snip them apart like I did the other ones. Same place, snip, snip. All right, and then we are going to place them like so, okay? So, glue on that one and on that one. Okay. We have one coming up and one coming out here. Okay. Same thing on the bottom. this one coming down here and right there. So kind of made that X again. Okay, and then we are going to put our snowflake right over the top, and I have them on foam. So it's up to you if you want to go ahead and do what I did before and put some of those slivers of foam on there, but it will make your card more stable. It is tedious, but sometimes that pays off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, pull the backing off. I'm going to place that right on top of where all those pieces meet. All right, and then this snowflake, one in the center, that one's going to go up here. This one is going to go into the center of my larger snowflake. And then you should have a Warm Wishes and another piece of that jade shimmer paper, and that's just going to go right in the center. And then sometimes these are perforated and they come out of the back of your paper pad. And sometimes you're going to need to go in and trim those off. I know they're kind of annoying, but the other thing that works good is a little bit of sandpaper takes it right off too. You just have to be careful there. So I'm going to put that on. Oops. This has the slightest border and it looks like I may have miscut. So you can leave it like that if you want, or I'm just going to trim it so it all matches all the way around. Okay. And then this is also up on foam. So, all right, that's going to go right here. And then we're going to finish off with these smaller snowflakes and the rhinestones in the center. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue here, here, and there. And get my jewel picker. That's the easiest way to pick those up. Go ahead and put these on. There's one. And one in the center of that one. So that card is finished. The last card, wishing you a magical Christmas. All right, so you're going to need to fussy cut this star, which should be easy, all straight lines. I left a very small white border. Okay, I have that fussy cut. The other thing I'm going to do before I build the card, because I think it'll be easier to do now, is you can tell this sentiment right here is obviously longer than the card right now. So I'm going to center the sentiment over this white piece. Okay, it actually fits on there just perfect. So you can do two things. You can take a pencil and mark the end, or you can just be brave with a pair of scissors and snip and snip. And then what I'm going to do is cut a banner in both ends. And that way that piece will be ready to go. All right, so that piece is ready to go. So now we can just put together a card. First thing is this star paper. Okay, and then this white rectangle with the star emboss is going to go on to the gold, and should have a pretty good sized border all the way around. All right, I popped this piece up. This is going to go in the center. And then we're going to pop up this guy here. So I'm going to need some thin strips. 1, 2. Now you could also here just put one right in the center if you're not worried about the ends of the star bending. So it's right in line with the big one there. Okay. And the last thing, well, not quite the last thing just yet. So that's going to go over the top, but because it's up on foam, we're going to need foam on the edges of that. So this is where, if you have thin strips, this comes into play. I'm going to put one there and one there, and hopefully, oh yeah, we should be good. Okay. Let me pull those off. Okay, and we're going to finish it off by placing these mini snowflakes. All right, the last one here, and that card is finished. So just for a recap, we made this one, that one, that one, and that one. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this card class. And if you have any problems with your kit, please let us know. We do our best to make sure everything is included, but we're human, so if we make a mistake, let us know. Enjoy, and we hope to see you again soon.